According to the latest news from Ross Coulthart on the Sky News Australia, he stated that FBI Director Kash Patel is investigating whether UFO witnesses have been murdered to protect government secrets. On top of that, we have congressional testimony under oath confirming that people have been killed.
You've got Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, has pledged transparency, and he's got a secret investigation going on into allegations that people have been murdered to protect this secret.
Okay, before we dive into Patel's investigation, we need to understand the evidence that's already been recorded. During the July 26, 2023 congressional hearing, whistleblower David Grush was asked directly about people being harmed or killed to protect UFO secrets. The exchange was a little shocking between Tim Burchett and David Grush.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes. Personally.
Have anyone been murdered that you would that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
Maybe in a if we could get in a confidential area, a SCIF, we could talk about that. But unfortunately, we were denied access to the SCIF, and that's very unfortunate in this scenario.
That was testified under oath before Congress, confirming that people have been killed to protect UFO secrets. And Grush isn't alone. Whistleblower Matthew Brown stated on the Weaponized podcast, "Yes, I believe lethal action has been taken against people that tried to get the truth out."
You get to know some of these other whistleblowers who are still not public yet.
Correct.
But who are at least close to coming forward.
Yes.
Is there strength in numbers in that regard?
Yes, and if all of us die or imprisoned, the seeds have been planted, more will come.
Well, those seeds have been planted about deaths in the whistleblower community. Those stories circulate, I would imagine, pretty quickly among you and people you know.
Yeah, but I'm still here.
You think anybody has been killed because they knew too much on this topic?
Yes, I believe, and I think, and I could probably help someone else prove it.
Mm-hmm.
But lethal action has been taken against people that tried to get the truth out. Or maybe we're just considered wild cards, not able to be efficiently controlled, no longer useful.
Now, here's why Kash Patel's investigation is so significant. As FBI director, he has something previous UFO researchers never had: legal authority to investigate murders and federal crimes. If people have been killed to protect UFO secrets, those are federal crimes under FBI jurisdiction. Patel isn't just collecting stories, he has the power to subpoena documents, interview witnesses under oath, and potentially bring criminal charges. But Patel brings more than just authority. He brings access. During his previous government roles, he held some of the most sensitive positions in the intelligence community. Deputy Assistant to the President on the National Security Council, Principal Deputy to the Acting Director of National Intelligence, Chief of Staff to the Acting Secretary of Defense, and in these positions, Patel would have had access to classified information about any government programs dealing with UFO witnesses, intimidation operations, or cover-up activities.
Have you faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of your testimony or anything on these lines?
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say in detail because there is an open whistleblower reprisal investigation on my behalf, and I don't want to compromise that investigation by providing anything that may help provide somebody information. But it was very brutal and very unfortunate, some of the tactics they used to hurt me both professionally and personally, to be quite frank. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. As they say, when you're over the target, that's when they do the most firing at you.
Do you think Patel's access to classified information is what led him to launch this murder investigation? After Tuesday's UFO congressional hearing, new revelations about government transparency, military encounters, and classified footage are making their waves across the internet. The most stunning piece of evidence? video of a U.S. Hellfire missile bouncing off an unidentified object near Yemen, and the Pentagon's response is raising even more questions. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. The Pentagon's reaction to this footage, released by Eric Burleson during the hearing, is generating headlines of its own. When asked to authenticate the video and provide details about the incident, defense officials have gone into lockdown mode. Senior Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez reported to ABC News that when he requested comment on the video, all he received was, "We have nothing for you." And a separate DoD spokesperson said simply, "I have nothing for you." Take a listen to this clip.
Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez joining me now. Okay, what are we hearing from the Pentagon? What is this? Do tell.
Well, Kara, this is obviously something that is of great importance here at the Pentagon because the Pentagon is concerned about the safety of its military personnel. And so what it does is it regularly investigates any incidents regarding reports of UFOs, or UAPs as they're now called. And so obviously this was something that was taken seriously. When I asked officials yesterday for any comment about the release of this video, the scenario, it took place off the coast of Yemen in last October, all I got as an answer was, "We have nothing for you." That is kind of a typical answer that you get when they don't want to discuss something, but at the same time, it also implies that they're probably looking into how this video was released.
This stonewalling extends beyond just this incident. Congressional sources reveal that when lawmakers try to get briefings on UFO information from the DoD, they were told that they did not hold access authority, a claim that Oversight Committee members say is false. And the silence from official channels is particularly notable given the significant operational implications. If U.S. military assets engage an unknown object that survived a missile strike, this would typically generate extensive after-action reports and briefings. Here's what News Nation has to say about that.
Keep your eyes on this because this video, seen for the first time today during a congressional hearing on UAPs, this is what you want to look at here. You see how it was shot at one point in time? Congressman Eric Burleson will join me in a moment. He played this black and white video, which shows purportedly a UFO being struck down by a Hellfire missile originating from a U.S. military drone. Now, Hellfire missiles are precision strike weapons that are manufactured by Lockheed Martin. That video, I've watched it a bunch. Now our audience has watched it several times. Tell me what we saw.
Yeah, it's a remarkable video. I received it anonymously with what it's in a way in which I've learned is called a dead drop. The video was scrubbed from all information, and that's why I'm saying.
What's a dead drop? Hold on 1 second. What's a dead drop?
Completely anonymously. There's nothing to trace back to, and I have no idea who gave it to me. So I decided I could either sit on it and try to spend time. I don't have the resources to do forensic on video. And so either I could sit on it, but look, I'm a disclosure guy. I'm just going to let the internet figure out the validity of this video. And so that's kind of the posture that I took.
If you enjoy UFO news, updates, case studies, and interviews, and you will like this channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode with those you want to keep in the know with the latest UFO news. According to multiple defense sources, the missile struck the object but bounced off, and with the craft continuing to fly after impact. Military experts testifying at the hearing confirmed that no known U.S. technology could survive a direct Hellfire strike. As military.com states, the Hellfire missile is capable of defeating any known tank in the world today. Indicates this was treated as a serious military engagement, not a routine observation. And this next clip is from NBC News.
When we tried to, as a committee, get briefings on certain information, specifically at the Department of Defense, we were told that we don't hold access authority and that we had to be a part of certain committees, but that's not true. In fact, oversight is actually the overarching branch of Congress that actually has investigative authorities into every single sector and branch of government, and so that's false. There's an issue with overclassification, but also, too, as you stated, many whistleblowers are afraid of being hit with the Espionage Act, especially if they are in positions in the intelligence community, and so that's exactly why we need to talk about immunity committee. We're actually going to be asking for the committee to vote as a whole to give certain people that we want to get into SCIF immunity so that they can actually talk to what they might know. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's our job, whether or not these things are natural phenomena, whether or not these things are adversarial in nature. I think that not answering those questions, I think that not having the discussion breeds room for error, and especially in regards to theories that might not necessarily be correct. And so I'm looking at this from a very analytical perspective. But what I can tell you is, just like you stated, you've been watching this video. It's pretty wild and bizarre. I don't think that it should have been classified in the way that it was, and I think that there's more information that should be released to the American people.
News details are emerging about the international scoop of UAP investigations and concerns about potential disinformation. Over 300 pages of documentation have since been submitted into the congressional records for public review, and a big thing that was brought up during the hearing was Russia and the Russian UFO files that were released by George Knapp after 1993. And here's what Luna had to say to that the day before the hearing on News Nation.
What is the context for the Russia program? What can we expect about that? Obviously, when you hear Russia, people's eyes light up.
Yeah, so there's over 300 pages that will be submitted into the congressional record, of which people will be able to go through themselves. And really my main question for Mr. Knapp is, and of course every member of Congress wants to know, how do you prove that this isn't actual disinformation that was handed over to American journalists or smuggled out of Russia by the KGB? And I think the real answer to that, in my opinion, is that we're not the only country that's actually looked into this. We actually have multiple parliaments that have announced hearings similar to what we're doing here in Washington, D.C., ranging from Mexico to Brazil to other countries as well, that are looking into launching their own task force. And so, to my knowledge, the Russian government did have something similar. I can tell you, Cuomo, that I actually met with the Russian government recently and asked them point blank if they had any information to share on this topic. And on that same front, we are looking forward to actually doing a bipartisan meeting with the Russian parliament here pretty soon. So we're trying to get that on the books.
The international angle is developing rapidly. Countries including Mexico, Brazil, and others are launching their own parliamentary investigation into UAPs and have already had their own UFO hearings and briefings over the last several years, suggesting a coordinated global response to these phenomena. And the multinational approach may help validate or even debunk controversial thoughts, ideas, and theories.